Hey everybody, Garcia here, and today I'm going to be covering these Investigator Starter Decks for Arkham Horror, the card game. I'm going to be doing a specific video for each of these, so make sure you go check out the ones you are interested in. Today we're going to be taking a look here at Winifred, Habbamock. She is the rogue. She has her deck, pushing her luck, doing crazy stunts. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Alright, so let's take a look at Winifred here. She is the aviatrix, so pilot, and she's got criminal. Her stats are quite weak, of course, in willpower, but she is great at evasion and that sort of thing. And then we've got here her ability of two different non-weakness cards. Two different non-weakness cards you control are committed to the skill test. Draw one card, limit once per test. Pretty good. Card draw, of course, being important. And non-weakness is important for her specifically because she's got one that can be, and in fact I think has to be, committed. So the effect for the Elder Sign, +1 after this test ends for every 2 points succeeded by. Return a card you committed to this test to your hand. Cool idea. I like it. I'm not sure. Obviously it's not going to hit very often. None of those do really, but nice. And I like her stats. I think those are very, very good stats there. So we're going to take a look at her signature cards. We're going to take a look at her signature weakness and then a new basic weakness that comes in here. Some of the cards that come in her deck, and then we'll look at some of the cards included for deck building. I do want to point out, for her, just like all the other investigators in this cycle, the deck building options are very, very simple. Rogue cards up to level 5, neutral cards up to level 5. That's it. And then, of course, her story down here. So let's go ahead and take a look at her signature card, which is very splashy and definitely makes an impression. It's this card right here. Anything you can do, better. And I'm assuming, of course, anything you can do, I can do better, is, I guess, what they would love for the full title of this to be, but that's not going to fit right there, is it? So as you can see, it's a skill. It says commit only to a skill test you are performing, and it does indeed have 6 wild icons. Huge, splashy card. I do wish there was an easier way for her to get this back from the Elder Sign, but it would have to hit. It says again, for every 2 points you succeeded, return a card you committed to your hand. So it would have to line up with you playing this card and drawing the Elder Sign in the same go. That's very, very unlikely to happen, but I do like it. Then we've got her signature weakness is Arrogance here. You must commit Arrogance to each eligible skill test you perform. This skill's icons subtract from the skill value instead of adding to it. And if it succeeds, you return this to your hand, meaning you need to commit this and fail, and then you discard it. Not too bad. There's plenty of things you can fail in this game and be fine, but I think it's cool. It's very thematic. I like the way that both of these tie to her character, very roguish, can-do attitude on Winifred. Then we've got this basic weakness. It's Reckless. It says commit to a skill test you're performing of any type that has no other cards committed to it. Other cards cannot be committed to the skill test. If it fails, return this to your hand. And then the forced ability is, if it's in your hand at the end of your turn, you reveal it, you lose 2 resources. So with this one, you need to pass. It gives you nothing up here. So you need to commit only this, you need to pass, and then you can let Reckless go. You're being reckless, and I love the thematics here. Very interesting. I love that the artwork is her. So again, they put a lot of love into these cards to make sure that these decks do feel like they are meant to be together. Now let's take a look at some of her cards in the deck here. We begin with this Pilfer card. Cost of 4, Investigate. It's going to use her evasion ability instead of the usual. If you succeed, you discover 2 additional clues at your location. It is very expensive at 4, but if you pass that test, it will net you 3 clues. Very good, especially multiplayer where there will be that many clues for you to gain, of course. We've got here Sneak By, an event, lets you evade, and when this action begins, you are going to gain 2 resources. There's one of these kinds of cards in basically every one of the characters. An event that when you do it, as it begins, it's going to net you something. I really like this cycle of cards. I think it's very Very easy to implement, very neat, cool idea. So she's going to get away from a beastie and get some resources while she's sneaking out. We've got here an ally. You are going to have +1 to her strength. That's pretty good. She's going to definitely need that. And then, though she really should be evading, but, you know, in a pinch, you got to punch somebody. And then the ability, of course, here, a free trigger on that. Exhaust her and spend 1 resource. Choose an item asset controlled by an investigator at your location. That could be you or someone else there. Heal 1 damage from that asset and 1 horror from Lonnie Ritter here. I like this. And again, you've seen now with a couple of these cards, I think she is very good at a multiplayer game. I think she wants to help other players, of course, you know, supporting the other players at the table. And this is a neat way to do it, to heal somebody else and get rid of some horror right here as well. Daredevil is the next card we're looking at. This is a skill. It says after you commit Daredevil to a skill test, you discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard a rogue card that you can commit to this test. You are going to commit that card, and then you shuffle every weakness you discarded back into your deck. No getting out of that one. And I love the flavor text on this one, too. You're a maniac, Winnie. I know, isn't it wonderful? So, pretty neat. I like this. It's going to, you know, pull out a card. You might burn through your deck, unfortunately, as you are looking for it. But it really shouldn't go that far until you find a symbol that hits. So there you go. That is Daredevil. And then lastly, we've got this Mauser C96 here, a weapon, very cool weapon. It has 5 ammo on it. You exhaust it and you spend an ammo, you fight, you get +1 strength and +1 damage for this attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, you can either ready this or you gain a resource. I really like that one. I think that's a really cool ability. Again, 4 is, yes, slightly pricey, but it's one-handed and it's got a very cool ability. And 5 ammo is not bad, so very happy with this weapon. All right, so let's take a look at some of her, some of the cards that come in the deck that are for deck building. And we begin here with a souped-up manual Dexterity. This is a card that was a common card. It had 2 symbols only. Well, they've now leveled this up, given it a class. It goes to rogues now, which makes sense. And now it has basically an extra symbol, and the ability says that if you are successful, you draw a card, which was the same as before, but now you get 2 cards instead if you succeed by 2 or more, which ideally you are likely to do, seeing as to how you have an extra symbol here. So very nice. I like what they did here with this cycle of cards. You'll see that there's one of these in all of these investigators that has been taken from basic cards, given to a specific class, and kicked up a little bit. All right, we've got here some other interesting cards like Copycat here, 3 XP on this one. After you commit Copycat to a skill test, you search the discard pile for another investigator, for a skill you can commit, and you commit it. And then the test, after the test ends, you put that card back on the bottom of its owner's deck. There's a lot to unpack here. It has to be another investigator. It has to be a card you can commit, so that's important. After you commit, search the discard pile of another investigator for a skill you can commit to this. You commit it. After it ends, you give it back to them under their pile. This is one of those FAQ heavy kind of cards. Can commit, meaning they have to be with me. Can commit, meaning it just has the symbols. So this one's going to take a little unpacking, but I do like the ability on it. We've got Sharpshooter up next here. This is an asset, and it features her, actually. When you would use a fight ability on a firearm asset, you exhaust this, and you choose one or both. It's going to use her agility instead of strength. All modifiers to your strength for this attack, modify your agility instead. Very good, very good. Or use the attacked enemy's evade value for this attack instead of their fight value. Again, very good. And you can do both of these. So you can pick the better stat, and you can pick your better stat. I really like Sharpshooter. I think it's an absolute awesome card. Okay, we've got here a souped-up classic Backstab here. Fight, it uses Dexterity instead of Strength. This attack deals +2 damage. If you succeed by 2 or more, you return this to your hand at the end of your turn. Backstab, like I said, was already a card in the game. Now they've given you a new leveled up one with some neat abilities there. I do like it. 3 cost is... I'd love it to be 2, I think. But it's very, very good. And again, it does do +2 damage, which is invaluable. And then lastly here we've got Chuck Fergus, an Albanian driver, I guess for the the gangsters in this world. He is extremely high level, so this is going to cost you 5 XP to put this ally in your deck. When you play a tactic or trick event, you exhaust them and you choose 2 of these things. That event gains fast, meaning not an action. And it won't trigger attacks of opportunity because it's not an action. Or the event costs 2 fewer to play. Or you get +2 skill value for the test while performing a skill test during the resolution of that event. And again, you get 2 of these 3. The bottom one is obviously only if you are playing something that is going to ask for an event, but even just the top 2 are insanely good. So this guy is just a really, really good ally. I really like him a lot. So there you go. That is Winifred Habbamock. Interesting last name on her. I really like this one. I think this whole cycle is good stuff. I would put her solidly in the middle of the pack for me personally, though. I do like what she does. I definitely like some of the cards that come in her deck. And she might be 2 or 3 at the end of the day. There's one character that I really like, and that I think serves well the purpose of this line of decks for most players. As an introductory starter deck, so you don't have to deck build. Buy this thing, start playing right now. I think she's pretty good at that, and I would say solidly 2nd or 3rd place. But I'm going to go with in the cycle of 5 decks, right in the middle, which is very, very good. So there you go. That is Winifred. Let me know what you think of her cards, and make sure you check out the rest of the videos in this explanation. There are 5 in total, 1 for each of these characters, so that you get a well-rounded picture of what's going on in these decks. That's going to do it. I'll see you on the next one.